Scotch and Wine.
Hello.
The ladies are here. We have
Treva,
Champagne,
and Lynn,
and of course me, Rhea.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna go ahead and get started. Today we are talking about Best of Enemies.
Yay! By Osha Gray Davidson. Movie director is Robin Bissell. Screenplay is also by Robin Bissell.
What do we think of this book-to-movie adaptation?
Dun dun dun.
It was a really long book.
I don't think it was so much long as it was boring.
It was so much history, which I love learning about the history, but you really didn't have to have half of the book all history.
Well, it wouldn't have been a problem if they advertised it as a history.
Exactly. Like, tell me
It wouldn't have been a problem.
book. I mean, the movie was literally the last chapter in the book. That's
Which also irritated me just a little bit.
When you think about it, the movie started in 1971, but in the book, it started in like 1956 or something like that.
1800s, I think.
And I was like, did we really just talk about history for 20 years in time? And then the last chapter go into the storyline?
Yeah.
I was...
Well, I just feel like it was good. I mean, I think that it did that in 1971, but 1971 just kind of went on for like 6 years before we got to the point of where we started. But on the flip side, I felt like we did need some of that for the movie.
Definitely.
Some of it, yes.
If they would have added some of that history from the book into the movie, kind of like a short 10-minute synopsis to kind of give us like the feel and the energy, then yeah, I could have gone with that flow. But like 10 chapters of history, I could have done without that.
Like, seriously, did you have to tape your eyes open for that book?
I did.
It was just
I literally
crazy.
was not sleepy when I started the book, and 5 seconds in, I'm dozing.
I liked the history lesson because I didn't know the backstory. I mean, I always want to learn a little bit more about history.
Right.
So I felt like it was really good information. I just...
Gotta be prepped for it.
Yeah, you gotta be prepped for it, and it just didn't do the story justice for me personally.
Especially
I don't know.
I would a small, quiet vibe of like history where there was no like roller coaster of emotion up and down.
Yes.
And it was kind of mundane, which I like learning about it, but it was really, really mundane. And then it went into like the meat of the story.
So this book was really, really difficult to read. And so, Champagne, talk a little bit about what you had to switch to.
Well, since I couldn't get through the book, I had to listen to it on audio, which was worse.
Why?
I literally could not stay awake. I mean,
driving?
I was driving. A 2-hour drive. I had plenty of rest. As soon as I got in the car, I started dozing. I was like, okay, now I'm going to turn this off before I have an accident.
The narrator was kind of dry.
Oh my God, I'm sorry, narrator. Don't remember your name, but yeah, let's choose a different job.
Yeah.
You're just like,
I'm sorry. He put me to
kick
sleep.
the man all the way out of
Well, he
his
needs
job.
to switch it over to like nighttime stuff to put me to sleep.
But I agree with Lynn. Like, some of that history was needed in the movie. Like, I watched the movie, and you're thinking to yourself, why the heck is she so angry throughout the whole movie? And like, how did she become the leader of the building contracts or whatever? And
Wait, hold on. You thought she was angry in the movie?
she was pouting and angry the entire movie to me. Like, her...
I felt like she could have been more prominent and demanding. Yeah, she was angry, but I felt she was like angry bitter. Not
right.
Like,
well, that's what I mean. Like, why was she
angry,
like
upset.
that? Like,
Okay.
why was she just this person?
I thought you were saying like domineering.
No. Just
How
like
did
a
you get
bitter,
that?
like everything was just pouty type of angry. But when you read the book,
You understood.
you heard her backstory and you understand why she was angry
Oh,
and
I
what
gotcha.
she went through. And then you also understand how she got into this position of being the person that everybody went to for like their building landlord issues. And so you just kind of knew how we arrived at that point. But in the movie, you're just sort of like, okay, well, why?
I mean, she literally
what's
came
she so
in
mad about?
Yeah,
right?
angry. Like,
And that goes same thing for CP, because in the book he was very, very angry, and his words that he used, had no filter. He was very aggressive and used very foul language. But in the movie, he was kind of just this guy who was the leader, but a little standoffish, kind of a quiet, reserved guy. And in the book, when I was reading it, I felt like he would have been very angry and not to compare directors, but for example, a lot of people had problems with Quentin Tarantino's movies because of how many times the N-word was used or how people spoke to each other. They chastised him for that, but at the same time, the KKK didn't censor themselves because of other people around them.
Absolutely.
So I feel that in this movie, if they really wanted to portray how angry and hospitable the hostile. Use the wrong word.
Yeah.
I was like, hospitable. What? Hospitable. Come on in here. N-word. Because slavery was a choice, aka to Kanye.
Right.
But if they were really that hostile, then I feel that they would have been more aggressive. CP would have actually said more. And I understand they were looking for a certain demographic they wanted to talk to, but it didn't make it real. Like, I feel like they were downplaying what integration and segregation was to me.
Exactly.
It came across too easy.
I think that happens a lot. Like, why downgrade it? Just keep it real. People need to know exactly what took place.
Because I'm pretty sure our grandparents did not feel like it was downplayed or anything. So why not really make you dive into that time frame with words? Just simple words.
Right. They missed the mark. I think they had a great opportunity to show so much stuff in this movie. I mean, with CP,
with his character.
Like, the one scene that they showed in the movie was him shooting up the house because this white woman was dating a black man. But in the book, there were so many other scenes that they could have showed or put in this movie to make it more powerful. I mean, even the scene, that interaction between him and the young kid in the street.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember exactly what he said, but he made a comment and...
In the book?
Yeah, in the book.
Yeah.
And I just felt like they could have showed that. That showed some fear of the young
Right, and he shot someone in the leg and everything.
Yeah, there was just so much opportunity. I don't even know why they created that scene of him shooting up the house with the woman. That wasn't even in the book.
The problem that I have was, as we were all saying, it just made it seem like this was so easy. This was not easy, and that's why I say it took away from the history of what really went on. Of course, I wasn't there, but I cannot imagine that this whole process was as easy and seamless as it came across in the movie.
Right.
I agree.
Right.
Even Lynn and I actually watched Best of Enemies together at the theater, and what came across really strong to me was the one scene in the book where I was really, really excited to see when he made that whole connection, like when he had that heartfelt moment when he heard the choir sing. And it was just like he walked into, what was it, a gym or whatever? I don't know what scene it was. And it was like he's looking and looks at him and it's over. And I was like, what? I'm looking at Lynn like, what?
They didn't make just eye contact. They had physical touch.
Yes.
He fell into her arms. He sobbed and he wept and he felt the emotional shift that he was wrong.
And that's why I say it made it seem like this was too easy. Like, it was okay. Like, he got it. Boom. No. This was a hard thing to deal with. And I just feel like they really painted a weird picture of what went on. Like, it's
like drop the ball on that one.
Yeah.
They really did, because you're right. And then even the scene where in the book he kind of talked about, wow, she eats like I eat.
Yes.
All of that. And then at the end of the book where he sort of had this realization of the fact that the elite whites were using the poor whites and the blacks against each other just to keep everybody suppressed. Like, he went to that dialogue that was just so significant. I don't even understand why they wouldn't have tied that into the book. His aha moment of that was so powerful. It's just really disappointing.
I think they used the aha moment as when Anne went to help Larry, his son.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say.
And they used that as the aha moment. Instead of like him, CP actually having a shift in his heart as the changer for him.
Yeah.
And I feel like they missed the ball on that one because they just completely redirected it. And I was like, they had a perfect chance to actually express what we felt reading the book.
Right.
That he had that change of heart. But instead it was, oh, well, thanks for helping my son.
Like I said,
and now I'm okay with you. Now we're okay.
Now we're good.
It had to take that to do it, and it wasn't just that. At least in the book, it didn't come across as that was, what really did it for him. I mean, and honestly, that's what black people do anyway. Like, that's what we do. So I don't know why that was such a big deal to put in the movie.
Right. I feel like there should have been a lot of focus on him because it was actually him that needed to change. It wasn't Anne Atwater.
Right.
She didn't come into the situation with hate. And the aha moment should have been with him. and everything that he realized. So,
They should have kept true to the book.
The one scene I thought was really well done was the scene when and I am sorry because I don't remember the character's name, was talking about how when they were trying to get them to understand, you know, what as parents we have to deal with with our black children. I mean, I thought that scene was done really, really well because I don't think that hit me in the book as strongly as it did watching it. I don't know why, maybe the visual thing, but that I thought was a really good scene.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you think about the characters? Because we got to get, I mean, Taraji's my girl.
I love
Taraji. And to be honest with you, if I hadn't read the book, I loved Taraji in the movie. But because I read the book and I know what she was supposed to look like, I mean, she did a great job trying to be the person that she was casted for, but they picked the wrong character. She was too small. She was, you know, they tried to bulk her up a little bit, but she was supposed to be this towering woman. And even seeing the real woman now, I get, that's what I imagine. That's what I thought I should see.
Right.
So I don't want to actually throw like a knock on it. Like, I thought Taraji didn't do a good job. I thought she did a wonderful job. But I just feel like it wasn't the right casting because it wasn't Anne.
Because you in the book you imagine this gigantor of a woman, because in one of the scenes she blocked the police station and they were scared to even go past her. So yeah, I didn't get that from Taraji.
Knocked out of the way.
Basically, yeah.
I just you know, that was a hard sell for me. Although again, she did an outstanding job. That's my homegirl from around the way. Love her to death.
I really don't think she did a good job.
I did.
I didn't like her in that role at all. Not just by her personality. I like her as an actor. I like her, but I don't think she captured Anne Atwater just even in the way that she carried herself to me. I didn't like it. I think they did a great job with CP.
Yes.
I mean,
Sam Rockwell was really good.
Yeah, I thought he did a really good job.
I love him as an actor.
He just wasn't angry enough.
He wasn't.
He was more this, to me, he came across more as this dodo, like I'm
just gonna do what you tell me.
Self-reflective, like he was constantly thinking, and the way they made him seem in the book was that he was just driven by anger.
Yeah,
but in the movie, it was like he was kind of analyzing everything the whole time.
More thoughtful, right?
Yeah, and I'm like, I get that they were trying to make that transition at the end,
but it shouldn't have been there in the beginning.
Exactly,
it shouldn't have. He should have been the racist person that he was.
Right.
I mean, regardless of what happened and what he transitioned to, you got to call a spade a spade. That's what he was.
Right.
I agree.
What else? What other characters do you think they hit the mark on or missed the mark on?
Well, I'm thinking about CP's wife. What's her name?
Oh my God, I loved her.
Mary Ellis.
Yeah.
They made her pretty significant in the movie.
Yes.
And she wasn't that significant in the book. And I was just trying to figure out why.
Yeah,
I thought I was the only one that noticed that.
Like, we didn't.
I mean, I loved her in it, but
like that. I mean, the whole partner with Anne. I mean,
sitting down at the table.
Yeah,
right.
Me, it's sort of like perpetuated this thing that only the women can get along. When in the book, CP had this transformation. Like I don't know, I'm stuck on that. They just needed to focus on his transformation.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you something, and this is probably not what I should be saying on the podcast, but I feel like they were trying to portray the Klan as not as hard as they really are.
Exactly, I agree.
And that is what really blew it for me in this adaptation. It just, as I said before, call a spade a spade.
It was
show
fake.
them.
It was fraud.
very, very fake.
I don't like it.
Especially when they had the African American actors standing in front of the Klan's members. And a lot of them were kind of just standing there like with a stalemate face. And I feel like if it were to be true to its time, they would not be standing there looking at them as if they don't exist. They're standing there looking at them with pure hate. And I feel like they were kind of downplaying that hate and that how hate was driving them. And I get that in a sense the KKK really didn't think that it was hate. They just thought that they did not like those people and that it was that they needed to stay in their lane, basically. But they really softened that blow in this movie.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
You're right. I mean, they're 100% hate. It was just, Robin just missed the mark when she wrote that, or he wrote that. I don't know if Robin's a male or
I
female.
don't know.
They missed the mark when they wrote that screenplay. I think they did a really bad job.
I did too.
Well, just like they had for, what do they call it, a Tourette?
Charette.
Charette, there we go. Yeah, I had to Google what that
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
Googled it.
yeah.
Me too. I was like, what the heck is a charrette?
Right.
Yeah, so when they did that, they literally had to sit down with blacks and whites to actually come to an agreement. And I really feel like when they made this movie, they should have done the same thing. They should have had a black perspective and a white perspective. Mm-hmm. And that way it paid homage to both sides, because I mean, it was a part of our American history, but they should have really consulted more than just themselves. It should have been a panel from each side to say like, hey, you know, my grandmother told me these stories, or...
I mean, honestly, if they would have read the whole book... There's so much history in the first 20 chapters of that book that if they would have just followed that lead, they could have put some of what were our frustration in.
Well, they may not have been able to get through.
that. They fall asleep too.
Yes, clearly.
Yeah,
they fell asleep.
As we're sitting here reflecting over the book to film, what do you think?
Is it fair to not even give one?
I give this book a sip. I really want to give it an empty glass. I know that's not our scale, but it gets a sip. It was an absolute horrible adaptation. I don't know what they were thinking, and I'm disgusted in the way that they created this movie based on the book.
I 100% agree that I would give it a sip also. That sip would help me get through the book. So yeah.
I give it a sip also because I think that they did not do a good balance between all that history from the book and then when the absolute game changers that happened in the book, they missed that in the movie. So what were you make up your own story? You were picking up your own pieces and putting them together to make one?
That's what it sounds like.
What you were taking from one to the next. Like the purpose was to make the book into a movie and you just went willy-nilly and made your own thing. So I give it a sip.
Darn it. Okay. I'm going to give it a sip too. This is Rhea.
Why you no.
I'm sad because I love Taraji.
Okay, but you
That doesn't have to do anything with adaptation.
Yeah,
adaptation. Adaptation. The adaptation.
Okay, go ahead, Ray.
So I'm gonna give it a sip too. I really was upset on how they softened the whole relationship thing. Again, I think my girl Taraji did a great job in what she was paid to do. But I just think wrong casting, wrong screenplay, wrong. It just wasn't the book to me.
I mean, I'm sorry. I've seen Big Mama. You could have got a fat suit.
You could have.
Yeah. Could have got a fat suit.
Why not just get a fat suit?
You had all them old cars stunting in the movie. You could have got a fat suit.
Fat suit, and you could have got some clogs or something to make her like a little bit taller so that she was really towering people because
blocks. I mean, they do it with Tom Cruise in every movie he's in.
Right, and I kind of think that it's like, it's low budget. And it made it really, really low.
Heels in her closet. Come on, Taraji. You should have pulled the heels out of your closet.
Yeah, but she wasn't the one doing it, Lynn. Let's go back to
the director.
It's the director.
I understand, but she should have made a stand.
She may not even read the book.
Yeah, well, we know that the director did not read the book. So,
there we have it. This book doesn't even make it to a half a glass.
Dang it, I can't clank my daggone wine glass.
So, yeah, sorry, best of enemies. You missed the mark.
Yeah, goodbye.
Follow us on Read, Watch, Wine on Instagram.
Absolutely. You can catch our show on iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn,
everywhere.
Podbeam, anywhere that you can find a podcast, you should be able to find us.
Comment on this. What do you think? I mean, if you feel like we were being harsh, let us know.
Give us some feedback, please.
I just want to know if you made it through the book.
And you stayed away